Shane, congrats on Murder Company. It was a really good watch, and there's
Thank
such a rich history of war movies that have tackled such a wide range of subjects within, all that encompasses. So, what was your overall goal with Murder Company?
Oh, I come from a military family, so I've always wanted to direct a military film. I've always been a fan of them. And my grandfather was General Patton's aide, so my family owns General Patton's gun, so it's always kind of been part of my family. And I've now directed about 10 films, and it was just kind of like a bucket list thing. And then now that I've done it, I want to continue to do more. It was just, the support for this film and from active military to retired military, it's just been amazing.
That's wonderful. And one aspect of the film that really impressed me was just the troop dynamic. You really establish that in the film, especially of them being this mixed unit, kind of a ragtag group. How key was it to make sure people really cared about these soldiers before we saw the action really take off?
Oh, it was huge. And fortunately, Pooch Hall and Jalone Vanover and some of these guys I've known 20 years. So to bring them together, and it was important to me I mean, I was actively involved. Other than Kelsey, I worked to get all these actors on board because I knew they would mesh well together. Not only fantastic actors, but there's no bad apples, so to speak. I mean, been on films where you can't wait to get through, get an actor off set, but this was one where we were hanging out on weekends together. You know, After cut, we'd go have dinner together, we'd work out together, we'd do other things together. So that's rare that you could have literally the entire cast come together like that. And it made it just that much better on screen for these guys to have that camaraderie.
And this takes place around D-Day, but it's showing this alternate story that's going on during those iconic events. What did you like most about having D-Day in the background? Because obviously that's very familiar to most people.
Well, this being a true story, it was important that, once these guys landed on the beach, that they had a way to get off. So the whole story takes place about trying to take out a high-ranking Nazi general who controlled the roadways. When we say roads, I mean just trying to get a tank over a bridge that could be 5 feet, would be considered a ditch. But if that bridge is taken out, then that tank and those trucks can't go through. So this Nazi was just trying to take out all roads so no one could come off the beach. And it was important for these guys to kind of take him out so we could get tanks and soldiers and jeeps, everything off the beaches. It was quite important.
Yeah, and the actor you got to play the main Nazi general in this, German actor Roman Schoenberg, he's very intense. He gives such a good performance. How was it working with him?
It was amazing, man. It was we I probably looked at 100 actors for that role, and people submitted multiple times, and it was important to me to have a German come in and not someone pretending to be with the accent, but also the intensity. You could just see it in his eyes. Once he sent in a tape, and then once we talked, it was like, man, the intensity just kind of went through the screen, and it really holds up on camera as well. He was good, but yet at the end of the day, he was ready to let that go and then go hang out and have a beer with William and Pooch behind you and everybody else. So it was good.
And I did want to ask about William because William Moseley, his character is really interesting in this because he's kind of in this in-between period for him as a soldier, and because he's growing into becoming this leader, and he's kind of hesitant about really stepping up into that form. What did you like most about the character of Southern and where we see him?
Yeah, it was important for me. I chose out William once I heard there was interest. We were looking for actors in the UK, and once his name popped up, my kids had been a fan of the Narnia films, and I'd seen him in other films, and he just comes off as younger than these guys, and yet but as a leader, as a true leader. So him jumping out there and running across when it takes a lot of guts to do that, and he the reluctancy of him and how he played it was worked extremely well for this film.
And you mentioned Kelsey Grammer earlier. He's a general in this. He always gives a very stern performance in this. What really attracted you to working with Kelsey?
I mean, like I said, it was like a bucket list. I mean, I have other directors. I'm friends with a lot of other directors and writers and actors, and going back 10, 15 years, people like, you got to work with him. Like, he is the nicest guy, and there's no he would show up on set and talk to, no matter what your position was, he just want to talk to you and hear where are you from, and we just really just hit it off. And it was an honor to work with him on this film, and I look forward to doing it definitely in the future as well.
Most of the movies that you've directed in the past, you also wrote. So how different was it directing somebody else's script this time around?
You know, with this script, I took it on, and then once we went to decide to go to Bulgaria and shoot, then I kind of made it match to these sets. And it seems like a lot of films these days are, when I was starting out, you're shooting 25, 30 days, and now you're trying to shoot in 12 or 15. And it's just a matter of like, okay, we love these set pieces, and we have some huge set pieces in this film, but it's also like, how do we scale it down and make it so we can shoot this? Because that was, that was quite important to me. And Jesse was a great collaborator. The writer Jesse was a great collaborator, so he was able to. I would send him notes, but yet on Sunday I would be changing the script and making this work, because there's a section where they're traveling far, and there's these rock formations and different things that Bulgaria had, that's it made it feel like they went 100 miles. And so it's just little changes like that to the script, and moving, just continuing to move them forward and make it, it's a contained film, with, in the sense that there's a core group of actors, but it's the scope is huge in this film. With some of these battle sequences, we had 150 to actors, 300 people on set, and it was quite daunting, and I think we pulled it off.
Yeah, the battle sequences are definitely a big highlight throughout the film. How would you kind of describe your approach to the actually putting together those war scenes? Because we've seen so many out of the years. So how's it kind of putting your own twist on that?
You know, it was hiring a great crew, a great stunt coordinator, and a lot of these guys have worked on the Expendables films. They do a lot of Millennium films. They do so they're used to these large scope action sequences. So it's just sitting down with these guys, weeks in advance, and saying, okay, this is how we plan on doing it. And it's just important to trust the people that we're working with and help pull it off. But yes, it was kind of my vision of, this valley, them coming from all sides and getting surrounded, and just explaining to these guys, like, okay, we are going to hit them from all sides, but let's make it look like it's not some over here and then some over here. We're not going to green screen it. We're going to, when they're getting attacked, they're getting all attacked at the same time. And like I said, we had 150 actors, and it really filled up the screen for sure.
Yeah, and one of my favorite aspects of these types of movies is definitely the period piece aspect. What did you like most about, filming in the 40s, seeing these old weapons and all the uniforms? They look great.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, no, fortunately, Millennium over there studios, they had the costumes, they had the trucks, they had the Jeeps, they had the tanks. I mean, they had all the stuff. So it was just, like I was like a kid in a candy store walking through there going like, wow, I get to choose. Normally you show up and you need a Jeep, and like, here's the one Jeep they have. And we showed up there and there were 10 trucks, and they're like, choose, this one's from this era, this one's from this one fits. And it was important to us to make sure that, some of these Jeeps weren't made in the, late 40s or 50s, after this time frame, that it actually fit, as well as the uniforms, the helmets, the weapons, everything was of that time and something they would have been using then.
And since you are continuing on this incredible legacy of World War II movies, I was curious if you have any particular favorites from the past.
Of course, Saving Private Ryan, Sisu, that came out last year, was phenomenal film. And studied that, and it's amazing what you can do with no dialogue, and just make people excited for it. But there's been so many, but definitely Saving Private Ryan is one. It was a fair. I had the poster on my wall when it first came out. Like it was important to me to, kind of live within that world and study that but yeah, I hope to do more for sure.
I hope to see that. And then my last question for you: you have a movie called Fight or Flight coming up. What can we kind of expect from that?
That was a crazy, crazy action film. I stepped in. There was a director, Daniel Zerilli, who tragically passed away while he was in prep for that film. So I stepped in literally when everything was set. Dolph Lundgren, Michael Jai White, Scott Martin, a lot of great actors, great action actors in that one, and Charlotte Kirk, and it's kind of nonstop action. An assassin who wants to take out other assassins, and it was Chad Law wrote it, who's written a ton of fantastic little action films. So that's a wild one. We just started editing yesterday, so it's tragically we shot in Ruidoso, and if you've seen the news, the fires have just hit there. So the sets we shot in 2 weeks ago have now been destroyed, and we have cabins in that film. We have, the restaurants we shot in. I mean, it's the house I stayed in. It's, within 2 weeks or the last couple of days, they've just been destroyed. So my thoughts and prayers are definitely with everybody there in Ruidoso, where I've now shot three of my last four films. Christmas Classic, Ski Resort was destroyed there. Best Man I shot with Luke Wilson. So yeah, I've that area is near and dear to my heart. So thoughts and prayers to everybody in Ruidoso right now.
Yeah, that's terrible. Prayers to them, and but thank you for your time today, and congrats again on Murder Company. There's a lot to be proud of here, so congrats.
Thanks, Tyler. Really appreciate it.